Ooh. Oh.
Up to 3 hours from now, we're stranded in the middle of the lake.
Welcome back to Rebuild or Rest, you guys. Today we're here actually at my parking lot at Mr. Dent at the company I own because we have this 1996 SeaRay 260 bow rider that's been abandoned for a lot of years. But the problem is I kind of abandoned it. It's my boat. I've had it forever and I never really did anything with it after getting it out of the bay down in Maryland and thinking I was going to do something with it. But today we're going to dig into it. We're going to see what all's wrong with it, see what it's going to take to run, and I got a little surprise for you. If you guys like that yacht project, this one here is going to be the thing that gets that running and gets that going out in the water again. Let's get at it. The 1996 SeaRay bow rider is a classic model known for its comfort, style, ample space, and reliable performance. It's a perfect boat for cruising with family, friends, or having a blast while enjoying some water sports. At 26 foot long and 8 feet 6 inches wide, you'll have plenty of room for people and gear. Weighing at 4,700 pounds, it has such a stable and smooth ride. Often powered by the legendary 7.4 liter GM-based Mercruiser engine, it has plenty of power and, of course, good old GM dependability. This boat, when I originally got it, was literally, it's sitting in the bay, it was on a lift, and it was in, well, pretty much about the same shape it's in now because I really didn't get a chance to do anything with it. I had to go get a trailer. The trailer I found on short notice is a little bit too small for the boat. I mean, those bunks, I mean, all this stuff, I moved it all back as far as I could, and it's just too little. It's a 5-lug axle. I mean, if you look at the tires, they're fully inflated and it's squatting, and also if you look at the front of the boat, I mean, it's almost, you know, right where the front is. I put some electric brakes on it back then and I outfitted it. I just never got any further in this project because I got all kinds of other things that came up, including a yacht and a 401 and just all kinds of stuff. So now it's just that time. We really need to get these projects figured out and get them done. And like I mentioned a little while ago, this has a big engine in it and that has a big engine in it. This big engine, I think, will fit in that boat back there. So we'll see. I'm pretty sure, but I don't know if it runs. I don't know what all works. Hopefully we don't go to start it and it has the same rod knock as that yacht had. So we'll see. But it's in pretty good shape. And back in the day, these 260 bow riders, I mean, these were a really, really cool boat. The gel coat on this, I mean, it's gone. I don't care how hard you buff on this, what you do to it, you're not going to save it. Same up here with the white. I mean, it's just shot. So it's going to need either wrapped or it's going to need painted or something, but I think we can do some stuff to this to make it look better. I'm hoping it's all right. It's been years since I've been in here to see what it looks like. I do remember back years ago it wasn't in too good a shape. So we do got the Mercruiser, we got the Bravo 1, which is, you guys know, I mean, it's a great setup. We got a stainless prop on it. Anodes, they look good. If I remember correctly, when I got this, it didn't have a lot of hours on it. It just sat for a long time. I think so many boats, if you think about it, like people get them, they figure they're gonna do so much with them, and they just don't do a lot with them because they get busy. Just like I got busy after getting this one. But it is time to save it. It is time to see if we can make use of it. I have a couple ideas. I'm not gonna share yet, but I have a couple ideas of something we might be able to do with this boat in a few different ways, and I'm really excited about it. So looking at the bumpers are in good shape. There's really not much wrong with it here. All these stickers, I mean, they're in okay shape. Obviously, these would have to come off, you know, if you want it to look really good. Or you could probably buff it. It could come back, and it might look pretty good for a while. I mean, this thing actually doesn't even have any bottom paint on it, and if you guys know boats, if you don't have bottom paint, it's actually a little bit faster of a boat. And it looks so much cleaner. Usually the bottom paint is really to keep it from getting any more messed up than it already got. So, but this thing's in good shape. There's no scars anywhere. There's no big gouges. There's a couple small nicks, but it's in really good shape. And you guys You're not going to believe what I paid for this thing years ago. So it's a lot older than it was then. But in today's market, it's got some value, especially compared to what I paid for it. We'll talk about that a little later. So let's get in it and let's check it out and see how the interior looks. Ooh, if that's any indication of what the interior is going to look like and what that looks like, then we got our work cut out for us. I mean, it does have, if you look, there's like a crack here on this cover, but this is what I really worry about, cracks in the gel coat. So there's a crack there. It looks superficial. It's not too bad, but it's definitely got some cracks in it. Oh, I don't see any bees yet.
That's always a win.
But this interior looks terrible. This is not like the Chaparral. It's a little more like the yacht. Look at the upholstery in this thing, man. It's totally ruined. Look at this. Look, it's just whatever. It's just flaking off. That's shot. This top is it's crunching.
Ta-da!
Yeah, right.
Dude, right away, this is a pretty big boat.
It's a lot bigger than what it looks like. I haven't been in here in years, and it looked kind of like this, but not quite this bad. I mean, it's wore right down to the cloth. I mean, this is shot. All this is gonna have to be redone. Even like the speaker grill is just falling apart. You know, all the plastic is just ruined. Yeah, all the gauges. So, wow. So that's actually not, that's like really good. So again, it's you know, boats, especially when you see them up on a lift, you know, they're stored somewhere. This didn't have a trailer at all. 602 original hours. So if you think of like an airplane, 2,000 hours and you need a rebuilt engine, you have a 600 hour engine, like that's just, you know, a quarter of its life. So and a boat will run even more. So this thing is yeah, it actually doesn't have that many hours on it. You know, the floor feels pretty good. I don't feel any soft spots.
It felt good. The only thing I felt was maybe in the middle of this.
Yeah, this door
felt a little soft.
Let me look in here. Bees. We got an oar, some really dirty carpet. It's like an anchor. But the seal looks pretty good. I think the door's a little wore out because it seems pretty soft, but I think we could fix that.
Oh, that's clean.
Nice. So it's got a little head down in here. You put a little toilet. Little toilet snaps in there if you want to go in and change. You can go in there and change.
It's pretty cool.
Put like a cooler in there and keep it out of the sun.
There wasn't a ton of mildew in there either.
No. I think back in the day, SeaRay, it's a great name, a good company, build a quality boat. This was probably like a $60,000 or $70,000 boat. It does have some storage. That's a wet storage. You could put some ice in there, put a plug in there, put some ice and put some drinks. After seeing the whole interior, my heart sank. I don't remember it being so bad, and I can't believe I let it get even worse than it was when I bought it. Yeah, so these are pretty much shot. The wood seems to be in good shape, but the covers are gone. But it does have some good storage under here. You got storage all through here, all around the front. And normally there's a piece that somehow goes in here that makes this one piece. I don't see that this has it, but I'm sure it did have it at one time. Check out and see what's in the front here. Usually, yeah, so we got an anchor in there and some rope. So if you want to tie off in the front and then you can tie off in the back, it's up here and it's ready to go. That's a really good option. And I think the only half decent piece of upholstery is that front piece there. The rest of it is like,
Which is kind of funny because
totally
wasn't it
shot.
the one piece that like the cover wasn't actually covered?
yeah, it wasn't covering that, so maybe
It
it's
makes
the cover
literally no
messed it all up. This isn't bad either. So, and it probably got the least amount of use up here, you know, compared to the rest of it. But we got some cup holders in there. There's some more storage. Really, if you look at the boat, it looks like it would be a fast boat. And there's plenty of room because you got the head there, you got both seats in the helm, you have the seats across the back, you got the seats up here. I mean, you could easily have probably like 7 or 8 people on the boat and be relatively comfortable.
Yeah. It's
Well,
rated for 10.
Yeah, 10 or 1,600 pounds. So 10 people or you, me, and 2 other guys our size.
Yeah.
Let's take a look in here. See what's in here. So looks like we got a little more storage. Actually, it's got a good amount of storage. It has a little rack up here. Put stuff in. We got some of the electronics. Looks like we have something unhooked up there. It looks like it's cut, so that makes me a little nervous. But it looks to be in good condition. I don't see a bunch of bird stuff or evidence of mice or anything like that. We got 2 fire extinguishers. We'll have to remember that. But everything looks good. Like all the handles are in good shape. All the locks are in good shape. See, and this is one of those, if you're cruising, you put this across here and then you close the windshield and then it blocks all the wind in case it's a little cold, you're up here, you don't want to get all that on you. So that's a pretty cool option.
And I don't know if this is going to ruin the Will It Start video, but apparently it's already started and running at 1,500 RPMs. So, we'll even have to do the rest of the video, I guess.
No, we're good to go. All right, let's go get some lunch. And it's already up to temperature.
Wow. Look at that.
Yeah, I have no idea what any of these buttons mean because everything is all wore off. We do have something a little newer.
Oh,
A Clarion cassette deck player. I'll have to break out my old AC/DC Metallica tapes. One of the reasons I got real excited about this boat, you know, it's kind of been out of sight, out of mind. I do have a newer boat that I've been, you know, using for the last couple years. But we have the yacht. And that's a 1998 Cruiser's yacht. This is a 1996 SeaRay. That's got a Mercruiser engine. This has a Mercruiser engine. Oh my gosh, it's heavy. And this is what I'm excited about. So this is a Mercruiser 7.4 liter big block 454 with 600 and some hours on it. This is the same short block, I think, that's in the yacht. I have to double check. 96, 98, I'm pretty sure they were the same block. They're a little different head configuration, so we could swap heads. But what I'd like to do, if this thing runs and there's no rod knock and there's no problems, I'm thinking of pulling this one out and putting it in that one. And then we got the engine that we need. And I also have 2 Marine 1,000 horsepower big bore stroked big blocks from a boat that I don't own anymore, and they're brand new and they're dyno tuned. I don't know what a 1,000 horsepower engine would do in a 26-foot bow rider, but I'd like to find out. So it does have some old batteries in it. So we're gonna hook this up to the truck. We're gonna grab some batteries. We're gonna get some batteries in it. We'll check all this out. We'll get it over where we have some water. We'll put the muffs on and we'll put some batteries in it and we'll see if we can get this thing started. Hopefully it doesn't have like a rod knock. Hopefully everything runs good and we can repurpose this engine. This could be really huge for the yacht. I mean, if we can swap in this engine, it'd be mostly done and ready to use. Not to mention a 26-foot 1,000 horsepower bow rider. Well, that wouldn't be too shabby either. Maybe one day. So this looks like it doubles as a table and there's some storage, or it may, I think, clip like up in here so you can extend this deck and have a big sun deck to lay in. Yeah, it really needs some cleaning and stuff. But I don't other than the upholstery, I don't see anything real alarming. I think if you replaced all this upholstery, the carpet in here, put some new speakers in, did some updating, maybe a little bit of paint or something, or even maybe just buffing it up, I think it would look really good. So what's your thoughts on this?
I think I think you're right.
I know you
I
love
do
boats.
love boats.
So.
I do love boats. Yeah, bust out another 1,000, but hey, I do love them. I mean, besides, you're right. Besides the upholstery.
Unless it's that one, then you bust out another 10,000.
Yeah. You know what's funny? It's like different income class between this and that. They're both really nice boats.
And between that one
and
there.
that one.
So we're not going to talk about that one. That one's just so we could use the trailer. I'm not rescuing that one.
Yeah. But no, I think it's really nice overall. I mean, even just looking inside of over here and seeing that there wasn't a ton of mildew and stuff, like that at least means the whole bottom hasn't just been getting, I don't know, mildew and mold growing all in.
And when you look at it, I think about like the design of the boat, right? So back in the day in 1996, you know, I mean, how many years ago was that? It's 2024, you know, so
28 years.
It's a boatload of years, no pun intended. So, you know, it's just a lot of years have passed by. And if you look at it today, how much different is this from a boat you buy today?
Not much. It's definitely not much. Yeah.
You're going to have a little bit of different storage design and stuff like that. But if you update the interior, you clean it up, you get some paint on it or you wrap it or something, get some new gauges in it, put some of the foam sea deck stuff down, you'd have like a really good boat that looks brand new. So guys, if you want to get out and you want to rescue something, boats are one of those things where you can update it for probably 25% of a new boat, and you can have a new looking boat. I mean, we could make this boat look like a $100,000 boat pretty easy.
Yeah.
A little bit of paint, some interior, maybe a wakeboard tower or something like that, and it's all accessible. It's all doable. They're not difficult. You got your dry back here, you got your engine. I mean, that's a car engine. Real simple to work on. Pop this top off. I say that now because I'm not down in there working on it, but this is nicer to work on than that Chaparral was.
Yeah.
So you're like right there. Like I was saying, these boats really haven't changed much over the years. And you can pick one of these things up for like 16 or 20 grand in good shape. Now it's been years since I picked up this one. And when I did, I only paid $3,800 for it. I mean, it had sat on a boat ramp, it was faded, and the owner didn't know if it ran anymore because he hadn't messed with it for years and years. But even with faded paint and a worn out interior, if this thing starts, $3,800 is one heck of a good deal. So before we hop in there and we try to get this thing running again for the first time in who knows how long, we're gonna take it over to the recon shop, we're gonna pull it in, and we're gonna clean it all up and see what it looks like underneath all this filth, grime, and muck. If you remember, I mentioned the trailer might be a little bit too small for this boat. To clean up the exterior, we went right into heavy cleaning by using acid. That quickly removed any of the dead paint and the staining on the sides and the bottom of the boat. It did an amazing job. All right, we got this thing all cleaned up, and I have to tell you, for a little while I was getting really excited because it looked really, really good. We put a little spray wax on it, but if you look here, I mean, it's starting to fade right back. So I feel like this gel coat is a little dead. I probably could buff on it, but if you really, really wanted it to look good, you'd probably have to wrap it or paint it, you know, depending on what you want to do. Or you could just buff it up and you could take it out and use it because it looks pretty good. Well, and that's as long as it starts. So now that it's clean, now that we're not full of like grime and grease and dirt, this thing actually looks really good.
From back here, it looks great because all this white really popped out nicely.
Yeah, well, until you look in there.
Until you look at the. Yeah.
I just got two words: King Ranch. But, so we'll pull this out. We're gonna hook some water up to it, check all the fluids in the engine, get some batteries in it. Hopefully it starts. What do you think? What's our chances?
I'm going with 80%.
It's a pretty safe bet. I'm more like a 70%. I think it's going to have some ignition problems or some fuel problems. I mean, pretty much every boat that I've ever messed with has either ignition or a fuel problem. As he was pulling it out, so all the white looks freaking bright. It looks so good. If this blue was blue, it would almost look new. Other than the white, it's kind of pale. It's not bright. It's not shiny white. It's bright white, but it's not shiny white. But otherwise, it looks really good. Well, until you get into the interior. But
yeah, from out
here,
10, 15 feet away, you're like, that's a nice boat.
This might be a 20-footer.
Yeah,
when you look at the blue, it's like a 20-footer. But yeah, I mean, it looks good. And I'll tell you what, this 260 SeaRay always has good lines. It's a good boat. It's a good quality built boat. It's got thick fiberglass. They're known for their build quality, and they're also known for being able to like get up on plane really well.
SeaRay does a good job like not dating their stuff too much.
Yeah.
Like it looks a little older, but you wouldn't be like, oh, that's from 1996. If that was bright blue and like it wasn't all faded out, it'd be a nice boat.
Yeah, needs a rack, needs like a wakeboard tower and some speakers and a couple other things. So I'm gonna grab some tools and let's dig into the engine. We'll check all the fluids. We're gonna throw those batteries in we got, and we'll see if this thing will start. Before we try firing up this old boat, we had to put some new batteries in it. Okay, maybe they were slightly used, or actually they were really heavily used and we just kind of hoped they'd work. All right, so we got both of the batteries hooked up. I got the master switch on the fuel turned on down here in the tank. Now, we didn't do a lot of this stuff that I figure we're gonna have to do. We're probably gonna put a fuel filter in it. Who knows if the fuel pump's going to work, or if the carburetor's any good, or any of that stuff, or if it has spark.
Should we sniff the gas?
Oh, you know what? I didn't sniff the gas.
That's a rebuild rescue tradition.
Yeah, I do got to do that. Here, let me check the oil. Does it have oil in it? Oh, it's full. It's a little used, but looks like it could use change.
Dude, that's crazy how long that dipstick is.
That's what she...
But one of the things that that I noticed, if you look at like these controls, it's got grease on it, so it's been maintained. You know, it's one of the things that I look for, like, right, so what are the different things that you can look for around an engine that you know it's been maintained? And you start to look for those things, and you know, it starts to make you feel a little bit better about whether or not something's, you know, going to really work or not.
So when you bought this, that's what kind of stuff you kind of look for?
Yeah, for
sure.
See if
little things, I mean, I guess that makes sense. Like if you see somebody putting grease on the fittings or something like that, it just means they went the extra step.
Yeah, or they were maintaining it. They took it somewhere and had it professionally maintained. I think one of the other things too is if you look at the winterizing. So this was over. So this was pulled over. So someone did winterize it for sure. So they had the fuel shut off. So they probably drained the fuel out. They probably winterized it. You know, so I have bought boats before that when you put the you go to start them and you get water flowing through them, the freeze plugs are completely blown out of the engines. Hopefully this one's not. I think it was winterized based on what I saw. Where I got it from, it was literally up on a dock and it hadn't been ran in years. It had the cover on it and it just was, I mean, you guys could see it was in bad shape. So,
and it was on a dry dock?
It was on a dry dock.
Really? So they just lifted it up, kind of put the cover on and just let it sit
and
there.
Left it sit there. And it had sat for a number of years. And then I picked it up with big plans and it had sat for a number of years. So, yeah, but everything does look pretty good though. Yeah, so let's try it out. We'll get some water in it. We'll see if it'll turn over. It's got some fluid in the power steering pump there. The belts need replaced. I mean, they'll be okay, but they're definitely going to need replaced. It does have some rust and stuff in here.
And this was on the Chesapeake Bay?
This was, yeah.
Okay. So brackish water.
Brackish, yeah. So that's the other thing too. I mean, it was in salt-ish water, but who knows if it was ran out to the bay or even if it went out in the ocean. It's a smaller boat. I doubt it was in the ocean. But the outside of that engine, it could look perfect. The inside of the engine could be complete corrosion and just destroyed. I don't know. And you don't know until you run it And then even after it runs, you got to run it for a while. And you got to be careful because those manifolds, just like the yacht, those manifolds were completely corroded in the inside, got water down the cylinder, and that's what blew that engine up. That's what blows up a lot of boat engines.
Should we check the gas?
Yeah, we'll check the gas. Oh, it's got some really good stale smelling fuel. So
That'll wake you up in the morning.
yeah, I think it'll be good for us to put a little fresh fuel in here, and then I think from there I'll get the. I think we better try to turn it over before we bother hooking, hooking water or anything that up to it, just in case we got like a starter problem or something like that. All right. Well, no juice. I don't think. I don't know if this has a master switch in it somewhere. It's probably gonna have a master switch for the batteries under here. All right, right there's the switch.
Is that because you have all the switches on?
Yeah.
It's just a blower for back there to kind of
Nice.
evacuate all the gas fumes so you don't like explode it. We don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, what's the fun in that?
The throttle cables work. That's good. That's a little tight. Steering cables work. They're a little tight too, but I think it could be lubed up. All right, let's see if we can bump over the starter. Ready?
Yeah.
Hey, this came back down.
Oh, nice.
Got some voltage. This is up. We got fuel, I think. All right, so it's trying to turn over. We'll probably get our jump box. It's probably needs a little bit extra juice. Thank you. All right, so which one? One of these is a starter battery, and one of them is the
Accessory.
accessory battery. I'm gonna go with this as a starter battery.
Because there's nothing really connected.
Yeah. All right. Says we got 12 volts here. Hopefully that engine's not locked up. Well, it sounds a little bit better. Let's see if we can go. Let me see if I can get it to kick over like this. If we can get it, well, we should put some water in it. Let's get the hose hooked up to it, and we'll get the muffs on it. Turn some water on, and we'll see if it'll start. All right, so we're gonna see if these cylinders work. If you guys remember on the Chaparral, this thing was completely locked. These cylinders were locked, and it didn't work. So, is it coming down?
Yep.
Nice. Awesome. So the cylinders work, the switch works. It's a little beat up here, but we can probably buy some of this trim for it. When we're rescuing something and things are going so well, I start to get anxious. What's going to go wrong? Because something always does. We got the water hooked up and everything's ready to go. I'm going to pump the throttle a little bit because this is carbureted, so we're going to try to get it primed and we'll see if this thing will start. So this is carbureted, so I'm going to give it a couple pumps here. All right, ready?
Yep.
Doesn't sound right.
Is the water on?
Oh, yeah. Ready?
Yep.
It sounds like it wants to start. Just doesn't sound right. All right, say we hook up 2 jumper packs. Thank you. After cranking the engines for a number of times, the engine wasn't starting. It almost sounded like the ignition timing was off. Something definitely wasn't right. If you take a look in there, you can see all this corrosion all around the carb here, all in it. Can't really tell. It looks like it's getting a little bit of fuel in here, but there's just corrosion everywhere. So, and chances are if there's corrosion in there, I can guarantee there's corrosion in that cap too. So we're going to pop that cap off and check all the contacts in there. And but I think first I'm going to just try to spray some carb cleaner in here. Maybe that'll at least get it to fire a little bit, and we'll know if the carb's good or if the carb's bad or what's wrong with it. So I went over most of the engine, and after not finding anything wrong, I decided it was missing one thing: a whole can of carb cleaner. Ready?
Yep.
It's trying. It's kind of running. Yeah! All right, so it's not charging. We do got oil pressure. It did run up to 2,000 RPM, but it's running really rough. It's kind of hard to hear, but definitely needs a tune-up. I don't hear any knocking, so nothing's knocking at all. So the bottom engine, good shape. I think this is going to be the perfect engine to get over there and put into the yacht. It sounds really good. It's just running a little rough. So it did start to charge. The alternator's probably a little bit, the brushes are probably a little dirty, but it is charging now. Good RPM. It does have a little, you can hear a little bit of a like lifter noise in there, but it's not terrible. We'll see if it'll idle. Seems to idle pretty good. So this thing has been sitting for like a number of years. I can't even tell you how long. It's running good. There's no rod knock. There's a little bit of lifter noise you can hear, and you know, obviously the carburetor, I mean, all that distributor, I'm sure all that stuff needs work. I'm not sure what the raw water pump looks like or what the filter looks like, but I want to rip this engine out of here. We're going to get this long block or the short block, whatever works for the yacht, get it in there, and get a yacht engine. Let me take the yacht out.
Jason, do you think the propeller will move?
Oh shoot, let's check.
Yep.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Good?
Yep.
All right, let's try reverse.
Yep.
Good?
Yeah.
Good?
Dude, that sounded way better than the Chaparral.
Yeah,
too.
it doesn't
Like,
sound,
it was
sounds
smooth.
good.
It sounded really smooth.
So on this here, the prop actually, I mean, the exhaust actually comes out through the prop, so it's a little bit different. It's going to sound a lot quieter. It is missing, like I can hear a miss, but I'm sure that distributor, I'm sure that's full of dirt. I'm sure that the carburetor, it looks like the original carburetor. I'm sure it's got, you know, it's probably all gummed up. It probably has all kinds of issues, but I didn't hear a single noise in the bottom end at all. Hopefully next time you see it, it's in the water. After some discussion, we decided to name the boat Ray. And we also decided it was the perfect day to head out to the river and see if this thing would float. We got this SeaRay down here to water, and the only thing we have to do yet is see if this thing floats and see if everything works. We're also gonna check this thing out. We're gonna see how fast it is. How long does it take to get up on plane? What's the top speed? And how does it handle? Because back in 1996, the SeaRay had some pretty good numbers. I mean, it's got a 454 big block in it. So what does an almost 30-year-old boat that sat forever perform like? We're gonna find out. Hey! So you were just talking about this boat, and I mean, what were you thinking?
Dude, I think this is $3,800 of a lot of fun.
I mean,
what about you?
If you can get over some of like the scuffs and the stains and stuff on the upholstery, I mean, it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. It's sitting in the water and looking like it belongs there.
So I think the question is, I mean, we know at like 50 miles an hour, it's a good looking boat, and 50 miles an hour in the water, if it can get there, is a good boat too. But the question is, Joe, do you think it's going to break? Or is it even going to work? Like,
I don't think it'll break as long as we don't let Jason drive.
Cut to 3 hours from now, we're stranded in the middle of the lake.
let me check down here and make sure we're not getting any water. It's running a little rough, but everything looks dry, so it's actually running really rough. It's so exciting to be out on the water. Think about this. We found this 26-foot big block powered boat for only $3,800. And after spending a few days working on it, we're on the water. First thing I noticed, it is charging. We do have temp right away. We're gonna keep a watch on that in case like the impeller to the engine water pump would go bad or something like that. But even the the pitch of the prop and everything, so that's all working, the trim. The fuel gauge seems to be working, and we got oil pressure. The speed, the speedometer's not working, but we will see what this thing does. It's so crazy when you compare boats from 1996 against a new 2024 of the same model. Other than more modern electronics and a few doodads, they're pretty much the same. But you'd spend $203,000 on that new boat. I'm betting we could rebuild this old 1996 and it would not only outperform that $203,000 boat, we could even make it look better, and we could do it so much cheaper. It is making a couple noises, so hopefully it lasts, and hopefully we get some good numbers to compare it to what it was supposed to be, and maybe to compare it to some of the newer boats that you can get today. Let's do it. That actually got the plane pretty darn quick. I mean, it got up, it leveled out, and it sped up pretty good. That's with a single drive prop and a big block. It's about 350 horsepower, I think. We have like a little bit of chop right now, but for our next test, we're gonna see what the top speed is. What do you think, Joe? How fast is this thing gonna go?
40.
40? How about you, Corey?
I think it's a pretty safe bet. 40,
about 40?
45 maybe.
I'm gonna say 42.5.
That sounds good.
All right, let's do it. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. What did we get?
36, 37.
Just to give you guys like a little bit of information, the more weight that you have on a boat, the slower it's going to be, because the more it holds it down on the water. We were hitting about 4,200 RPM. A little bit ago, we had it out, it was just Joe and I, and it hit about 5,000 RPM. So that can be the difference between having a couple people in your boat and just having like 1 or 2 people in your boat. So I'm not sure. I think it would be with one person. I think it's about a 40-mile-an-hour boat right now. All right, let's check this thing out. Let's see how this thing handles. So you guys might want to hold on. Our SeaRay is almost 30 years old, so we really weren't expecting much out of it. But the more we pushed it, the more we found that we had grins from ear to ear. Ray handled so well. We could throw him right into the sharp turn, and it just digs in, and it would shoot right out of the turn with 0 prop wash. So another one of the things we wanted to check is this is a stock exhaust. It comes out in the water. In general, it's really quiet. So we got a dB meter on my phone, and we're gonna see how loud this is from idle all the way up to full throttle while we're in the water. So I think one of the things that you're going to notice with the decibel, with the sound level of the boat, most of the sound that you're going to get on this boat is going to be from the wind, not much from the engine, but I think we can change that in the future. But if you're a man and you like a loud boat, you got to change that. You put a captain's call on it, or Or heck, you just put a straight exhaust on. Oh, oil pressure's down. It comes up, but we only got 20 pounds of oil pressure.
Oh.
Nah, I think we better go in. As I was looking, we only got like 20 pounds of oil pressure. We were beating on it pretty much. Now, I don't know if it's the gauge or if it's a sensor, but we did a little bit of slalom test there and it handled really well, but we're just gonna take it easy. We're gonna get back to the dock because we wanna get it out of the water. We definitely wanna test the oil pressure out of the water and make sure it's good before we blow the engine up, because we have plans for this engine and we don't wanna blow it up. But I think you guys at $3,800, you'd be really, really happy with this thing. It's a lot of boat for the money. And if you look at it compared to like one of the new, the SeaRay, the special edition ones or something with some paint, some interior, and a little bit of work, you could have a comparable boat for like a quarter of the money. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Thank you guys for following along with us. Until our next rescue, see you guys later.